Good evening. Call to order this December 7th meeting of the Winston-Salem City Council. Pursuant to the policy and procedures adopted by the City Council relative to virtual meetings, I've determined that it's not feasible for the City Council and I to meet together physically. And due to the Safer at Home order, all council members are participating virtually. Council members will vote by a roll call vote. A council member will be recognized and state their vote. Would the City Clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Larson.
Present.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Bestie.
Here.
Councilmember Scipio.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember Mcintosh.
Here.
Councilmember Parman.
Present.
Thank you very much. Would you please join the City Council and me in a moment of silence? Thank you. This meeting is being televised live tonight on TV 13, and it will be replayed tomorrow at 9 a.m. and again Wednesday at 9 p.m. Copies of our agenda as well as videos of previous meetings are always available online at the city's website, www.cityofws.org, and simply click on the Watch Meetings Online option. Today's agenda of the City Council is comprised of the following items. There are 2 items expressing appreciation to outgoing City Council members. We have comments by those same outgoing council members. We have the oath of office for the mayor as well as the incoming council members. There's an item related to the selection of the mayor pro tem as well as making committee designations. We also have an item related to the council's 2021 meeting schedule, as well as an item selecting the delegate to the North Carolina League of Municipalities 21-22 biennium legislative policy and goals process. And we have the public comment period. The public comment period is a time set aside for citizens to voice their opinions on matters that are germane to city government. And when this virtual comment period is called, each speaker will be given 3 minutes for comment, and we limit our total time to 30 minutes. Ms. Keeney, would you read the first item, please?
Item G1, resolution expressing appreciation to the Honorable Dan Bestie for his service as council member. Whereas Mr. Dan Bestie began serving the Southwest Ward as a council member in December 2001 and was re-elected 4 times by the voters of the Southwest Ward. And whereas Councilmember Bestie was born in Hickory, North Carolina, graduated from the public schools there, and then attended the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, where he received his bachelor's degree in 1977 and his Juris Doctor degree in 1980. And he subsequently worked for a decade as a legal aid attorney serving poor families in rural eastern North Carolina. And whereas Councilmember Bestie also practiced environmental law and was appointed by the governor to boards and commissions charged with protecting clean air and water, other natural resources, and public health and safety, and served 20 years on those state boards, including the Coastal Resources Commission and the Environmental Management Commission. And whereas on the Winston-Salem City Council, Councilmember Bestie has served as a member and chair of the Community Development, Housing, and General Government Committee, and in that role worked to reduce homelessness, protect and expand affordable housing, protect and expand city parks, and recreations and facilities, including Miller Park, Little Creek Park, Bolton Park, Laughlin Park, Salem Lake Park, Winston Lake Park, and Quarry Park, and help to adopt and implement the Tree Safe Ordinance, energy efficiency policies, small area plans, and the legacy plan. And whereas Councilmember Bestie has also served as a member and chair of the Public Works Committee, and in that role worked to improve and expand the city's recycling programs and the public transit bus system, including Sunday service, expanded weeknight and Saturday service, hybrid electric buses, and improved routes citywide. And whereas Councilmember Bestie has represented the city of Winston-Salem as a member and vice chair of the Urban Area Transportation Advisory Committee, and as a member and chair of the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation, in which he has worked to help improve public transit services across the region. And whereas Councilmember Bestie has worked to improve public safety programs, including new police and fire stations, improved personal protective gear for the firefighters and police officers, more competitive compensation for police officers and firefighters, and improved transparency and accountability through police body camera systems and policies. And whereas Councilmember Bestie has made a special focus on expanding sidewalks, bike paths, and greenways citywide, including Salem Creek Greenway, Muddy Creek Greenway, Little Creek Greenway, Noel Massey and Brushy Fort Greenways, Quarry Park and Walltown Greenway, Stroh Way, and the Long Branch Trail. Now, therefore be it resolved that the City of Winston-Salem, its mayor, and its city council hereby thank Councilmember Dan Bestie for his vision, his leadership, his dedication to outstanding public service, his untiring involvement in the Winston-Salem community, and his commitment to the well-being of all of its citizens.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, motion and second. Council members, without objection, I'm going to call simply for a voice vote. All those in favor of this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I know there are none. So that resolution is passed unanimously. Dan, hang on just a moment. We're going to do a quick video here.
Someone once said you could live your whole life and never leave the Southwest Ward. Born in a hospital, go to school, work, shop, raise a family, enjoy your leisure time, retire, and be buried here. Southwest Ward is represented by Dan Bessie.
Bessie was sworn in as the Southwest Ward Council member on Monday, December 3rd of 2001. That's 19 years and 4 days of service, or 6,944 days. Another way to think about it is that he has spent 9.9 million seconds representing the residents of the Southwest Ward.
I have a favorite story that I'm going to tell one more time because it was a special request, and this is my last National Night Out as a council member in Winston-Salem.
In one of the neighborhoods that I represent, a few years ago, an involved citizen noticed a lawnmower that she recognized
being pushed down the street by someone she didn't recognize. So she did the right thing. She called the police. They came, and by the time they got there,
they found the lawnmower abandoned in the middle of the street.
Whomever had been rolling away with someone else's lawnmower had noticed the police were coming and had skedaddled.
And the lawnmower was recovered and is owned back by the family that had it.
You know, that's the way these things work.
Thanks very much. No lawnmower story today.
Thank you, Dan. I'm sure glad we got that story recorded for records so we all go back and listen to it one more time. Dan, I'm going to invite you to make comments if you would like.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was being entertained by seeing how exactly I told that story every time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to my council colleagues and to all our city family. It's been one of the great privileges and honors of my lifetime to represent the people of the Southwest Ward on this council for the past 19 years and to do my best for all the citizens and residents of Winston-Salem. Thank you to all of you here and throughout the Winston-Salem city family for the opportunity to work with you to help build a stronger, healthier, more just, and more welcoming community for all. For all that we have yet to do for our city, we've already built much during that time, and I believe that we're in the process of building more. I'm passing along this evening the responsibility in continuing that work to my elected successor, Kevinundy, and I have great confidence that he will do so well. 1 year ago, I elected to file not for re-election to this office, but for a state legislative seat. I did so in part out of concern that the decisions being made in our state legislature on matters ranging from access to health care, to funding of our public schools, to protection of clean water and air, have too often not been in the best interest of our people here. And I continue to hold those concerns. But I also firmly believe that the decision makers in Raleigh need to take a lesson from how local government works in cities like Winston-Salem. With open, reasoned discussion, fact-based analysis, and honest, principled negotiation and compromise. And I believe today that this city will continue to model that approach. And that's a good thing, because the challenges that this body will face over the next few years will be neither small nor simple. Revenue and budget constraints, a widening shortage of affordable housing, a growing need for balanced transportation alternatives, and other ongoing challenges in public safety, public health, and racial equity. I thought about offering some transitional advice on those points and ultimately decided against it, in part because no one, including me, wants to listen to another hour of policy lecture, but also in part because that might convey a level of finality to my comments that I have no wish to suggest, because I have no intention of stepping out of the public dialogue in our community anytime soon. In closing, I deeply appreciate the chance to have worked with you on this council for the people of our city. Thank you again for helping to make that opportunity a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. We certainly will miss you and have greatly enjoyed working with you, and the city is a much, much better place because of your work. As you know, you and I came on at the same time, so I've shared those 9.9 million seconds with you together. So we certainly wish you the best. We'll get you the copies of this framed resolution and other memorabilia for your office and other things, Dan. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item G2, please.
Item G2, resolution expressing appreciation to the Honorable Morticia T.T. Parman for her service as council member. Whereas Ms. Morticia T.T. Parman began serving the Northeast Ward as a council member in June 2020. And whereas Councilmember Parman joined the United States Army in 1996 and served her country faithfully. She received 6 RCAM awards, 4 RCOM awards, an Army Service Medal, an Army Achievement Medal, an Armed Forces Reserve Comp Achievement Medal, and a National Defense Service Medal. And whereas Councilmember Parman has been married to her husband, Kelvin Killian, for 15 years and has two daughters, Lasagna and Katrina. And whereas Councilmember Parman has served as a member of the Public Safety Committee, as well as a member of the Public Works Committee. And whereas Councilmember Parman started the Erling Parman Plants for Prosperity Community Garden in Helen Nichols Park while serving on the council. She also started the Marie Roseberry Learning Lab, which is housed at the Cleveland Avenue Homes. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Winston-Salem, its mayor, and its city council hereby thank Councilmember Morticia T.T. Parman for her vision, her leadership, her dedication to outstanding public service, her untiring involvement in the Winston-Salem community, and her commitment to the well-being of all of its citizens.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion second. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Of course, there's no one opposed. That is unanimous. TT, hang on just a second. We're going to show a video.
Upon the death of the city's longest-serving elected official, Vivian H. Burke, the community and the Winston-Salem Mayor and Council selected another lifelong servant in Morticia T.T. Parman. A 20-year retired Army veteran answered the call knowing that she would have to relinquish it just 6 months later. In that time, she used her city salary to support efforts she wanted to see done in the community. One of those being a cleanup of the Patterson and Glen area that brought families, students, even a group of people who work out together, but who were motivated to get a chance to do something good in another part of the city. She invested in the renaming of the Learning Center at the Cleveland Avenue Homes for Marie Roseborough, the first female board member of the Housing Authority of Winston-Salem. She also funded the creation of Parman's Plants for Prosperity, a community garden at the Carl Russell Recreation Center, produced in tribute to her mother, the late state senator and former county commissioner Earlene Parman. T.T. Parman, we are grateful for your service.
Proud to present this resolution to you, and that other memorabilia will be coming to you. And thank you for your service. Even though it's been a short time, you've made a great impact on our city. So congratulations, and please feel free to make comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members. It has been a joy and an honor to serve with each and every one of you during this time. I do not take this for granted. I appreciate it. And on behalf of the Northeast Ward, to the constituents of the Northeast Ward, thank you. It has been an honor to serve each and every one of you as well. I couldn't have done this without the help of the city employees. I want to take the time to say thank you to each and every one of you. Also to my city clerk, I love you, thank you. Tabitha Childress, thank you, I love you. And to my police chief, Katrina Thompson, my sister, I stand with you. I thank you. The fight isn't over. We're going to walk this together. For the constituents in the Northeast Ward and in the city of Winston-Salem, Winston-Salem will continue to grow further. We will move further. We're going forward together and not one step back. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Parman. Thank you, Councilor Parman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Now we have item G4, please.
Item G4, oath of Mayor Alan Joines, administered by the Honorable Carrie F. Vickery, District Court Judge.
If you will place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Alan Joines,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as mayor.
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as mayor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Alan Joines,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state
I,
your name.
Alan Joines,
Do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly execute
that I will well and truly execute
the duties of the office of Mayor of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
the duties of the office of Mayor of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to law,
according to law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Your job.
Before we sign.
Yes, thank you.
You got to get back to the seat. Okay. Did you do? He didn't put it on. He doesn't know that she got to tell him. She got to fix it.
Hello? You have a Bible holder with you, or are you by yourself? You have a Bible holder. I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
All right, place your left hand on the Bible, please, and raise your right. I state your name.
I, Denise Darcell Adams,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties of my office
discharge the duties of my office
as Mayor Pro Tem,
as Mayor Pro Tem.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Denise Darcell Adams,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authority
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
or the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Denise Darcell Adams,
Do swear that I will well and truly execute.
do swear
that I will well and truly execute
do swear that I will well and truly execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Mayor of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, of Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of the skills
my
and my
skill and ability,
skill and
according
ability,
to law,
according to law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was long.
Councilmember John Larson, administered by the Honorable Nick S. Cartsville District Court Judge.
Sorry. You may stay right here. Let's get in the Bible first. Raise your voice.
Make sure you speak up.
I state your name.
I, John Larson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as City Council member.
as City Council member.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, John Larson,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I shall support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
that I shall be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authority
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of this state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, John Larson,
Do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
execute the duties of the office
execute the duties of the office
of City Councilman of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
City Council member of the City of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to law,
according to law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have the oath for Councilmember Robert Clark.
Councilmember Robert Clark, administered by the Honorable Denise S. Hartsfield, District Court Judge.
Judge, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clark, for the Bible lady. The Bible lady is coming back. Thank you. So we all are. I state your name.
I, Robert Clark,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as City Council member.
as City Council member.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Robert Clark,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers
to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are
or may be
established for the government thereof,
established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor
and that I will endeavor
to support,
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and
to
ability.
the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Robert Clark,
Do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
execute the duties of the office of City Council member
execute the offices of the City Council
of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
to the best of my skill and ability,
to the best of my skill and abilities,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Councilmember Kevinundy, administered by the Honorable Denise S. Hartsfield, District Court Judge.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Congratulations. Place your left hand on the Bible, sir, and raise your right. Family Bible, I like that. I state your name.
I, Kevinundy,
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as city council member. So help me God. I state your name.
I, Kevinundy,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities which are
or
may be established
for
the government thereof,
and
that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Kevinundy,
Do swear
do swear
that I will well
and truly
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office
of
city council member
city council member
of the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
of the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
according to the best of my skill and ability.
according to the best of my skill and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Councilmember Annette Scipio, administered by the Honorable Denise S. Hartsfield, District Court Judge.
Good afternoon. Have some Bible holder here. Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. I state your name.
I, Annette Scipio,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duty of my office
the duty of my office
as council member.
as council member.
I state your name.
I, Annette Scipio,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
I state your name.
I, Annette Scipio,
Do swear that I will well and truly
do swear that I will well and truly
execute the duties of the office
execute the duties of the office
of council member
of
the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
of the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina,
according to the best of my skill
according to the best of my skills
and ability,
and abilities,
according to law.
according to law.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Dear
Thank
child.
you. Thank you.
Councilmember James Taylor Jr., administered by the Honorable Denise S. Hartsfield, District Court Judge.
Where is James? Is he supposed to be on this camera?
Here.
There he is. All right. Hello, good evening. How are you, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor?
Well, thank you.
Mr. Taylor, if you'll raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, James Taylor,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
discharge the duties of my office
as council member.
as council member.
I state your name.
I, James Taylor,
Do solemnly and sincerely affirm
do solemnly and sincerely affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are
or may be
established for the government thereof,
established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and I will endeavor to support,
maintain,
and
defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
I state your name.
I, James Taylor,
Do affirm
that
I will well and truly execute the duties of the office of council member of the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, according to the best of my skill and ability, according to law.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Councilmember Jeff McIntosh, administered by the Honorable Lisa V. Menifee, Chief District Court Judge.
I don't see Jeff. Mr. McIntosh, good evening.
Good evening.
Do you, Jeff McIntosh, solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as city council member, so help you God?
I will.
Do you, Jeff McIntosh, solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina, and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of this state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
I will.
And do you, Jeff McIntosh, swear that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office of the city council member of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, according to the best of your skill and ability, according to law, so help you God?
I will.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Councilmember Barbara Haynes Burke, administered by the Honorable L. Todd Burke, Superior Court Judge.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before we proceed with the oath, I'm going to grant myself some judicial license, and I would like to thank the mayor and the council members as they extended themselves to the Burke family during the time that my mother, the late Dr. Vivian Burke, was laid to rest. I thank you so much for that. I dare say the way that our family has served this community is unprecedented. Whether it was my father in the state legislature, an educator, whether it was my mother, my father, the late Logan Burke, or my mother, the late Dr. Vivian H. Burke, as educator and on this council, and myself as Chief Judicial Officer in this county. And now I am humbled that I have the opportunity to administer this oath of office to my wife, Barbara. No one particularly likes to be compared to anyone, especially when they are as iconic as our mother, Dr. Burke. But Barbara has distinguished herself on the school board, and I think that she will be a champion for the citizens of the Northeast Ward. So at this time, I'm going to ask that the gentlelady of the Northeast Ward, if she place her left hand on the Bible and raise her right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name.
I, Barbara Haynes Burke,
do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and maintain.
That I will support and maintain.
The Constitution and laws of the United States.
The Constitution and laws of the United States.
And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina.
And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina.
Not inconsistent therewith.
Not inconsistent therewith.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
And I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of my office.
The duties of my office.
As council member, so help me God.
As council member, so help me God.
I, and state your name.
I, Barbara Haynes Burke,
do solemnly and sincerely swear.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will be faithful.
That I will be faithful.
And bear true allegiance.
And bear true allegiance.
To the state of North Carolina.
To the state of North Carolina.
And to the constitutional powers.
And to the constitutional powers.
And authorities.
And authorities.
Which are or may be established.
Which are or may be established.
For the government thereof.
For the government thereof.
And that I will endeavor to support.
And I will endeavor to support.
Maintain and defend.
Maintain and defend.
The Constitution of said state.
The Constitution of said state.
Not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States.
Not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, and state your name.
I, Barbara Haynes Burke,
do swear.
Do swear.
That I will well and truly.
That I will well and truly.
Execute the duties of the office of council member.
Execute the duties of the office of council member.
Of the city of Winston-Salem.
Of the city of Winston-Salem.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
According to the best of my skill and ability.
According to the best of my skill and ability.
According to law.
According to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I ask the city secretary to call the roll of the new board, please?
Councilmember Larson.
Present.
Councilmember Clark.
Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Mundy.
Present.
Councilmember Scipio.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Present.
Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember Mcintosh.
Here.
Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Thank you very much. Council members, it's usual that we invite our council members to make very brief comments coming in. So I would begin with our Mayor Pro Tem Adams, if you'd like to make a couple of brief comments.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I look forward to the work that we will have to do as Councilmember Dan Bestie spoke about. Again, I want to thank the citizens of the North Ward for reelecting me again, and the citizens of Winston-Salem. Let's go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Larson.
Simply put, Feliz Navidad and Merry Christmas to all, and let's have a prosperous and better 2021.
Thank you. Councilmember Clark.
I would first like to thank Mr. Bessie and Ms. Parman for their service. Particularly would like to recognize Dan, who I have had the privilege of sitting beside for 19 years. And Dan, it has been truly been a pleasure to work with you kind of at close range there. Secondly, I'd like to thank the citizens of the West Ward for the confidence you've shown in me. And to echo what has previously been said, we are in most interesting times. It's going to be a challenge for us, but we will not give up. We will move forward, and we will continue to make this a great city to work, play, and raise a family. Thank you.
Councilmember Mundy.
I would like to thank the citizens of the Southwest Ward, because without their votes, I would not be here. It's a true honor to join this this cast of characters, and I say that with all due respect. Everyone has been so gracious to me coming in, giving me wonderful advice, and I thank the members of the council and the city staff. I would also like to thank Dan Bessie. Dan has been a great champion for me, making sure that I was up to speed, trying to make sure that the transition from him to me is smooth and that I was aware of all the issues. That shows just how much he cares for the city and for the Southwest Ward. So thank you, Dan, for that, and I look forward to serving with all of you.
Thank you, and I congratulate you and Michael.
Thank you.
Councilmember Scipio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and greetings to our fellow council members. I'm so happy that we'll be serving together in the next 4 years. We have such a great challenge ahead of us in our country and our communities. And I am so humble that the East Ward residents have voted me to serve them. And that is exactly what I will do, is to serve you. But our service, my service, is based on respect for you individually and building our neighborhoods and our communities to be vibrant neighborhoods. The East Ward is one of the most diverse wards in our city, and it has many of our social problems, and I call those opportunities. But together, working with respect, in unity and harmony, we will be able to achieve many wonderful things in this city. So I'm very grateful to be here, and I thank you again, my residents of the East Ward.
Thank you. Councilmember Taylor.
I'd like to just take a quick moment and thank the citizens of the Southeast Ward for sending me back down to City Hall to do the people's work. I can say it's truly an honor to serve the neighborhood, the community, and the city that I was born and reared in. I'm looking forward to continuing the good work that we started. Thank you.
Councilmember Mcintosh.
Thank you, Mr. Bessie and Ms. Parman. I truly enjoyed working with you. Ms. Parman, I wish I had gotten longer to spend with you. I really appreciate your input. I look forward to developing a good working relationship with our incoming council members. The next 4 years, I think, is going to be a fairly difficult period. We're going to have to really buckle down and make some hard decisions. But I think we've got a great group of people to get that done. And I also want to thank the citizens of the Northwest Ward for re-electing me for my third term.
Thank you. And Councilmember Burke.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Good evening, Mayor Jones and distinguished members of the council. I am truly grateful for this honor and this privilege to serve on City Council and represent the Northeast Ward. I would like to take the time to thank the residents of the Northeast Ward for entrusting me with their vote and giving me the honor and privilege to serve them as their representative. I also want to take an opportunity to thank my campaign members, my campaign committee. Thank you for your tireless efforts and walking all the miles and talking with all the residents in order for me to get where I am today. I also want to thank my family for your love and support, my husband, especially my children, my sister, and my brothers. Thank you so much. To the council members, I am looking forward to working together so that we can continue to make Winston-Salem a great place to live, work, and play. And I have to say one more thing. To the city staff that I have had the privilege of meeting and speaking with over the past few weeks, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for making my transition so smoothly. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you. And I'd like to add my thanks to the voters of Winston-Salem for rehiring me for another term. As was said earlier, we've got a challenge ahead of us as a city council and a city government. We've got to keep the COVID-19 in check. My mantra has been to protect our citizens while minimizing the impact on our businesses, and we've got to continue to do that. We've got to address the very serious economic impact that the city of Winston-Salem is facing because of the pandemic. Balance the budget's going to be a challenge this year. I know we're all going to have to pull hard to do that. I want us to work to get our job growth back up to those pre-COVID areas. We were growing at 3.9%, and we want to work hard to get back up there. We need to work hard, as you know, to get tangible strategies in place to deal with the affordable housing needs in our city, as well as continue to work on our poverty reduction plan. But I know this city council and this city staff can work together to get those things done. So I look forward. I was excited today, as I was back in 2001, to continue this work. So thank you all very much. Item G6.
Item G6, Mayor Joines' recommendations for committee assignments and mayor pro tempore.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, McIntosh.
Second, Scipio.
Thank you. Motion by Councilmember McIntosh, seconded by Councilmember Scipio and Clark. Any discussion? Now we'll go to the roll call. Councilmember Larson.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Mundy.
Aye.
Councilmember Scipio.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yay.
Councilmember McIntosh.
Aye.
And Councilmember Burke. Thank you. I
Yes.
think we've got excuse me, Councilmember Burke, thank you. I think we've got a very balanced slate here of committee chairs as well as members of each committee. So I look forward to these committees keeping the smooth work of city government going in the years ahead. Item G7.
Item G7, consideration of City Council's 2021 meeting schedule.
As you know, this is basically lays out the year. There are a few changes on there due to holidays and national meetings, and there are no meetings in July. I'd entertain a motion to approve the calendar.
I move to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Scipio and seconded by, I think, Councilmember Larson. Any discussion? Going to the roll call. Councilmember Larson.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Mundy.
Aye.
Councilmember Scipio.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yay.
Councilmember McIntosh.
Aye.
And Councilmember Burke.
Yes.
Thank you. Item G8.
Item G8, resolution designating voting delegates for the North Carolina League of Municipalities 2021-2022 Legislative Policy and Goals Process.
Recommendation is for Councilmember McIntosh to represent the city and Councilmember Scipio to be an alternate if necessary. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilmember Larson moves approval, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Adams. Any discussion? To the roll call, Councilmember Larson.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Mundy.
Aye.
Councilmember Scipio.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yay.
Councilmember McIntosh.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all the voting items we have tonight. We now go to item G9.
Item G9, public comment period.
Again, this is a time we set aside 30 minutes to hear from the general public on matters that are germane to the city. We'd ask that the speakers identify yourself and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. First speaker is Duck McManus.
My name is Duck McManus, and I live at 130 Secret Garden Lane, Apartment 6. I'm with Triad Abolition Project and in support of Hate Out of Winston and Housing Justice Now. My comment abides by the city charter, which states that public comments must be orderly and decorous, and therefore it is not screaming, as Jeff Mcintosh expresses his concern about in a recent journal article. Mayor joins, city council members new and old, city attorneys and city managers. I want to remind you of a story from the Winston-Salem Journal in 2017 titled, Aiming for Average on Behalf of the Working Police. In the story, WSPD Sergeant David Rose recounts his efforts in increasing the salaries of WSPD officers with the use of statewide data for his arguments. The story fails to go into more detail over Sergeant David Rose's position as Winston-Salem chapter president of the Police Benevolent Association, which recently held a presser in Winston-Salem to call upon the outrageous conduct of one council member for pointing out racism in the police department. One of the PBA members present at the presser was Executive Director John Midgett, who in 1986 began the work of endorsing city council members in order to increase longevity pay for police officers, a process that clearly continues as we see funds continue to pour into police departments with members of the PBA. We know of at least 3 current council members who are endorsed by the PBA: Annette Scipio of the East Ward, Barbara Burke of the Northeast Ward, and Kevinundy of the Southwest Ward. The cost of this endorsement per council member, according to campaign funds, is $1,000 each. That's a total of $3,000 to buy council members for further lobbying for increasing taxpayer funds towards WSPD. The total general fund per resident is $850.53 per year. And so when you hear from multiple members of the community in every single public comment period, all who are doing this without payment nor endorsement, our collective taxes should, by the logic of the council, buy some of the actions we are asking for. Regardless of PBA endorsement of city council members, we do know that you, Mayor Joins, and City Council, according to the city charter, Articles 5, Section 23, have power to reduce the size of the police department. And we ask that you exercise your responsibility to your community that elected you to office for the 2020 to 2024 term to reduce the size of WSPD personnel numbers and use the funds saved in that process to address the root causes of harm, to fight poverty and establish more equity in the city of Winston-Salem. The police don't need $78 million. The people do.
The next speaker is Desiree Dulce.
Hi, thank you. Yes, my name is Desiree DeDolce, and I live in the 27101 zip code, 710 South Green. I'm with Triad Abolition Project and Housing Justice Now and in support of Hate Out of Winston. Mayor Joins, City Council members, this morning I took the time to review not only the City Council charter, but the individual messages to the community from each member on the City of Winston-Salem website. And one phrase was repeated by nearly all, and that was a promise to fight for the well-being of your respective wards and the community at large. Council members, although the power and the unique privilege to closely examine the $78 million police budget and reallocate the necessary funds to harm-reducing alternatives lies solely with you, I acknowledge your hesitancy to consider them. Just last week, when Councilwoman Adams spoke up in defense of a 15-year-old citizen who was physically assaulted by a police officer, John Midgett responded by holding the Police Benevolent Association's first ever press conference in Winston-Salem solely to publicly criticize a Black woman for calling out institutional racism in the community she serves. And when at least 3 council members and the mayor are endorsed by and have received donations from the PBA, investing in a future that puts justice and the needs of the community ahead of police terrorism is no doubt daunting to consider. Mayor Joins, in a recent Winston-Salem Journal article, you inferred that critics of police spending are not as concerned with the current growth of violent crime as police advocates are. And Councilmember Taylor accused us of being unaware of what citizens in his neighborhood want when it comes to policing. But this could not be more false. The desire for the safety and well-being of each and every citizen of this city informs these demands. We are driven by the desire to see a reduction in the root causes of violent crime, such as housing insecurity, lack of access to education, poverty, joblessness, and mental health challenges, rather than an increase in punitive measures as a knee-jerk reaction to crime. Council members, you have the power to allocate funds to support these initiatives, and the police do not need $78 million. The people do. Thank you. I yield my time.
Holly Jones.
Hi, my name is Allie Jones. I live at 2770 Laguna Avenue. Over the last 6 months or so, groups from across the city have stood before you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council, respectfully requesting a serious revision and reduction of the $78 million Winston-Salem Police Department budget. Council members Burke and Mundy, I welcome you, and I trust that in preparation for assuming your seats, you have followed the discussion around reallocation as well. The group that I am proud to be a member of, Hate Out of Winston, has specifically requested reallocation to fund programs that serve our neediest populations in Winston-Salem. Programs that serve neighborhoods with unreliable access to employment, transportation, nutritious food, quality healthcare, and stable housing. Multiple members of our organization, as well as our comrades with Triad Abolition and Housing Justice Now, have presented cases for investing in our people instead of our police with nary a response. We have sent emails and letters never to have them answered. It is only in the form of a Winston-Salem Journal article authored by Wes Young on the 29th of November that you have responded to what we have asked for, a move that smarts of passive-aggressive, disingenuous politicking. This entire time you have had the opportunity to respond to us, not just via email or special committee meeting, but in real time, and you have opted not to engage in any sort of dialogue, preferring to rush us along or cut public comment period before all speakers have had their say, despite also being able to extend a meeting at your discretion. Mayor Jones's quotes in this article use blanket language about people seemingly pulled from thin air and exclude an untold number of Winston's 251,000 residents. Councilmember Mcintosh's quotes in this article not only insult our intelligence, but demonstrate a lack of attention paid to our very specific requests. We do not come before you screaming, for you have mistaken passion and dedication to our fellow citizens for noise, and we do not come with nothing but complaints. We have proposed specific groups for increased funding and specific funding streams to pull from. We have demonstrated that we too care deeply for the citizens of Winston and also want them to be safe. The difference is that you, council, continue to insist that the only way a community can be safe is via police, and we know that more police and a bloated police budget have zero connection to the safety of a city. This summer, as our nation burned with another rise of civil rights demonstrations full of outrage over the losses of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and we in Winston grappled with the murder of John Neville, over 10 cities in the United States drafted revised budgets reducing the funds for their police departments in favor of increased social services. These areas of receipt include mental health services, increased job training, food access, houseless response, and education. There are not imaginary solutions to very real problems. These are research-based best practices that address the root and not the fruit of crime. It is time to stop pretending that the only way to keep a city safe is to spend more money on police presence and start serving the people with viable opportunities and care that prevent the need for a police officer to begin with. The Winston-Salem Police Department does not need $78 million.
Thank you very much. Karen Obus.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Karen Obus, and I live in zip code 27012, 6887 Idols Road. I'm with Triad Abolition Project and in support of Hate Out of Winston and Housing Justice Now. City Council members new and old, as you have heard already tonight, the way City Council receives and responds to feedback from their community members impacts the overall safety pulse in the community. Many of you have commented that we have many challenges ahead, and we fully agree and look forward to increased dialogue with you. Month after month, we have continued to share research-based knowledge as to why we do not agree with what the council has been discussing or distributing funds meant to serve the people, how our concerns are being pushed aside and dismissed, and the council's willingness to respond through a journalist rather than to us during this allotted time. We would like to remind you of your own city charter, section 238.1, section D. The mayor and city council may respond to comments made during the public comment period to direct the city manager or the city attorney where appropriate to provide a response. We have been asking that the city council members engage with us during the public comment period, and it continues not to happen. Triad Abolition Project, Hate Out of Winston, and Housing Justice Now have valid concerns that are only growing in our community. You have been allotted time to respond to us, but have chosen to show no regard to us during that time, rather to respond through a news article instead. We are right here waiting for you to respond week after week, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. We will utilize any and all ways to communicate our concerns with you on behalf of citizens who do not currently have a seat at the table. We remind you of the Winston-Salem City Charter again. Section 2-38.1, Section B. The public comment period will be limited to 30 minutes, and each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. If there are more than 10 speakers, council, by majority consent, may extend the public comment period by a reasonable time period. If a large number of people are present to comment on the same subject, it is suggested that the group designate a speaker that will acknowledge the presence of the group. Speakers may yield their time to another speaker. Unless council determines otherwise by majority consent, all speakers, including designated speakers, will be limited to 3 minutes, even if other speakers have relinquished their time to said speakers. We are asked to be decorous in our conduct, and we expect the same from you. Responding to us through a news outlet rather than directly during the allotted time for us to be heard is disrespectful, unprofessional, and dismissive, and we will not tolerate it, nor should you expect us to, given your own city charter. Again, I repeat, the police don't need $78 million, the people do. I yield my time.
Rachel Verne.
Hi, my name is Rachel Fern. I live in the 27105 zip code. I'm here with Triad Abolition Project and in support of Hate Out of Winston and Housing Justice Now. City council members new and old, we want to remind you of Section 2-112 of the city charter under the Citizen Police Review Board. Action by city manager. The city manager shall review the findings of fact of the Citizen Police Review Board and any other information at his disposal and take such action as he deems appropriate, consistent with state law and city policy. The city manager shall notify all parties, including the hearing board, of his resolution of the complaint, consistent with state law. With this in mind, we hope you will reconsider your continued position of asking the citizens of Winston-Salem to exercise patience when expressing a complaint or grievance about the brutal uses of force by the WSPE officers. This section of the charter means that any processes undertaken by the Citizen Police Review Board are in fact overruled by any action favored by the city manager, Lee Garrity. As you may know, Lee Garrity is not unbiased in his support of WSPD officers and the current processes of law and order. City manager Lee Garrity's eldest daughter is a prosecutor in the DA's office, and Lee Garrity's son-in-law is a WSPD officer, as he has indicated on his city manager's social media account. So rather than continue to tell taxpayers in Winston-Salem to trust a biased process members from service until the city council shall convene and take action in the matter, and upon hearing the proofs in the case, the city council may discharge or restore such members, and the pay of such members so suspended shall cease from the time of suspension to the time of restoration of service. Any violation of the regulations or orders of any superior shall be good cause for dismissal. Any investment in community policing is still policing. Any further investment in policing, whether it be equipment or otherwise, deflects from the core point. Defund the police and invest in the people. Again, the people don't need $78 million. The people do. The police don't need $78 million. The people do. I yield my time.
Miranda Jones.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. Congratulations to the newly sworn in. According to an August 2020 Forbes magazine article, the notion of slashing and reallocating police funds is far from universally popular. Just 34% of Americans have a favorable view of the movement, while 53% do not. This is no surprise, as most social justice movements in this country initially face unparalleled amounts of rejection. We are clear that some of you have given lip service to social justice, particularly during this past summer of heightened racial unrest, while others have remained silent or have been downright caustic. For instance, Councilmember Annette Scipio, I read your resume and was impressed until I heard you speak and I read your words. In a Triad City Beat article from January 2020, when asked about housing, you said, there was a great energy because of employment. Homes were well maintained. People worked hard. We didn't have idleness. That doesn't exist now. I discovered that your platform is one of denigrating, demoralizing, eviscerating, and degrading poor Blacks. You seem to suggest that the root cause of all those ills are because poor Blacks don't want to work. At the Delta Arts Center, I heard you reference the so-called good old days, which included manufacturing jobs at R.J. Reynolds. Good for who? It certainly wasn't good for my great-great-aunt or any of my grandfathers who were not paid the same wages as white men. What's more is those good old days are gone. Have you considered that a portion of the $78 million could be used for job training programs for people with varying levels of education so they can work in your glorious innovation quarter? Have you considered how this funding can be used in SOAR and Youth Build? Other larger cities have already taken the lead on reallocation. Cities like Austin and LA, San Francisco and Portland, and even Salt Lake City, whose own mayor proposed reallocation. What's stopping this city? Some of you with the most diabolical levels of police encounters and poverty in your ward are silent, often quick to second an adjournment to end the meeting to shut us up. In an article from May 2020, Mayor Jones said Mrs. Parman could be seen as a neutral placeholder until the election decided the result. She has done that, but the Northeast Ward, which I grew up in, cannot afford for any city council representative to be neutral. Just like the East Ward, not all of Northeast Ward lives in poverty, but there is more than enough, and we know it's better for those housed in Black skin to be in a position where they don't have to deal with state-sanctioned lynchings while we wait for claims that the cause of death was due to chronic disease. Imagine what it would look like if that were addressed by services offered through the city in partnership with the county and agencies with measurable outcomes. In the words of Councilmember Scipio, I ask, are you being idle? Are you being irresponsible? Furthermore, isn't it irresponsible of you to never have addressed Mayor Pro Tem's call for reparations this past August, which was supposed to be addressed in either October or November? It's December. Mayor Pro Tem said the time is right for Winston-Salem to move forward on reparations. She further noted how none of the other city council members offered comments or questions when she brought the matter up in committee. I was dismayed to know that other Black council members sat in silence.
Thank you. Your time is up. Jillian Seacrest.
My name is Jillian Seacrest, and I live in the 27127 zip code, 2524 Tantalon Place. I am with the Triad Abolition Project and in support of Hate Out of Winston and Housing Justice Now. As stated in a previous comment, each taxpayer in Winston pays an average of $850 a year for the general fund. And so when we have 10 public comments per 1 month public comment period, that's a representation of $8,500 of the general fund. Are we part of the 250,000 residents you represent? You say in the Record Journal story about quote unquote police critics that you're talking to folks, but why aren't you talking to us? We have sat and listened as just in the last couple of months you have painted a picture that the FCDC is so busy that it requires $15,000 walkthrough body temperature scanner, but contradict that in your proposal to make modest and insulting modifications to what sounds like a menu for those housed there during a pandemic that is mysteriously void of nutritional concerns. It was noted recently that the FCDC's average daily population at FCDC dropped by 203 people on average between January 2020 and May 2020. If the ADP dropped by 203, how can you then explain the need for a body scanner based on how busy your staff is? These are logical questions, and all we are asking for is respectful and well-researched responses from our representatives. There is no need to spend any funding you are granted from any entity on excessive equipment when you have citizens hungry, citizens unhoused, and citizens currently being illegally evicted. Say that again, illegally evicted in your city. We are making suggestions. We are not being heard or taken seriously. Any investment in community policing is still policing. Any further investment in policing, whether it be equipment or otherwise, deflects from the core point: to fund the police and invest in the people. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, we'll gladly continue our discussion in the public comment period on January 19th of 2021. Again, the police don't need $78 million, the people do. Welcome, Councilmember Mundy. Additionally, welcome, Councilmember Burke. Look forward to hearing a lot of your feedback in these sessions, and we really hope that you decide to actually address these issues. Thank you. I yield my time.
Joseph Brendan.
Hello, Joseph Brendan, 1007 Salisbury Ridge Drive, 27127. Mayor, City Council. I'm not here with any group, but I support what was all said. Speaking today of disappointment, not just for how the city has treated its citizens over the years, but in how that treatment has neatly curtailed into the lacking efforts to combat COVID-19. I can't believe that our neighbors in this city are fearing evictions, job loss, their health, and their futures, and the best we get is begging by the mayor for the benefit of restaurateurs. Our neighbors are scared, they are sick, and they are dying, and yet no begging has been done to get them much-needed monetary assistance. No begging done to halt evictions, truly halt them, not just opt-in, half-baked programs with loopholes for landlords. No one is pushed to hold restaurants and businesses accountable who are ignoring socially distanced orders, mask orders, and protecting the public health at the expense of their workers. All we have is efforts to get things open again for the benefit of moneymakers and keeping up the image of downtown and the innovation corridor. How is it with all the creative arts and innovation of the city that the Mask the City initiative that was promoted only gave 75,000 masks at no cost to low-income folks, with the rest of the 390,000 masks being purchased by nonprofit and businesses? But Project Mask, a local effort of a group of volunteer sewers and crafters, could make 120,000 masks and give them away for free. It's difficult to see that so little has been done, yet we see praise thrown to you for giving us scraps, while the citizenry has to survive and fight with each other to get by. You all need to do better. There needs to be clear recognition in your actions that the constituency is not just in the 27101 and those bringing money to the city's table. We need financial assistance. We need completely halted evictions. And now and after this public health disaster, we need affordable housing for all. No more $900 studios set aside as affordable to net tax breaks for developers from HUD. Real quality, affordable homes must be given to those in need so they don't die outside. You all just took an oath to uphold the Constitution, but don't forget your implicit oath to serve all the constituency. You must do better. As you all enjoy your holiday seasons in your homes, some of them excessively large and empty, please recognize that you have constituents that are houseless, facing potential houselessness in the winter during a pandemic, and you owe it to them to do better. They don't care about Innovation Quarter. They don't care if you donate your salary. They only care about not dying for Christmas like the 173 we've already lost in the county. Do better. And I want to give a shout out to Dee Dee Adams for calling out the racist actions of Winston-Salem PD, as others have stated. I yield my time.
Cameron McIntosh.
Hello, I am Cameron McIntyre. I am at 840 Carolina Avenue in the Northwest Ward. When I was 15 years old in 2008, my parents lost their home in the 2008 financial crisis. And not long afterwards, my family moved into a home. My father lost his job and we received an eviction notice just 2 months after we lost our house. Thankfully, we were able to get around. My father got a new job, he got some help, and I didn't have to be evicted just after we had been foreclosed on. But my fear today is that our neighbors all across this city are not going to have the same opportunity. Because of the COVID-19 crisis and because of this mismanagement at several levels of government of this crisis, many of our neighbors have already been evicted in spite of a moratorium from the Centers for Disease Control. What are you going to do? We have seen elderly people, people with mental illness who will never be able to get the resources they need independently. People with cancer, people with children, people who've had to leave their children with other family members because they got evicted. I'm speaking very informally tonight. The city chose to spend its resources with United Way and distributing funds to several nonprofits, but it is very difficult for people to find these nonprofits. When people call, when Housing Justice Now give information about certain ones that people can call, there's no money left. The well has dried up. The well has dried up for assistance. What are these people going to do? What are our neighbors? They're not just people running around. They're not just some other person. They're our neighbors, and they could very easily, tomorrow or the next day, be me or another person on this call. We need aid. I understand that not everything is in your power, but we need aid for the eviction crisis that is coming, that's already begun, and that is going to explode on January 1st. We need clear aid. We need direct aid. We do not need aid that patronizes our community. We need aid that lifts up our community. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your that you've chosen to listen and pay attention to us through this whole meeting, and I yield my time.
Katie Coleman.
Hi, I'm Katie Coleman of 913 Schumann Street. I'm with Housing Justice Now in support of Triad Abolition and Hate Out of Winston. When I go to the city's website, there's an option near the top of the page that says, I want to find COVID information. And when you click it, the only thing you'll find is information for business owners. Lots of info for how to get relief for your small business, and not one word about what to do if you're a citizen who needs relief. I read an article in the Journal the other day touting all of the mayor's work to save the restaurants. And I think that's great. But what's lacking from this government's response to the pandemic is any noticeable concern for the workers in those restaurants and what their lives look like now. I know this city prides itself on its dining scene, and while you put business owners on pedestals, you often forget about the workers who make those places run. Those workers and so many others are struggling right now. 51 people were in eviction court just today. We've seen well over 1,000 eviction cases since the courts reopened this summer. So many of them out of work because of the pandemic. People are struggling. Evictions will kill people, and City Council needs to pay attention. At the very least, you could publicly support an extension of the CDC eviction moratorium and encourage the county to actually enforce it. While you all are on Christmas break, the moratorium and what little protection it offered will expire. Please pay attention to what is happening to the most vulnerable people in this city and do something. I will echo the sentiment of others that Winston-Salem PD doesn't need $78 million. The people do. Thank you for your time.
Celine Johnson.
Celine Johnson, 2350 Queen Street, 27103. I'm here representing Hate Out of Winston-Salem in solidarity with Triad Abolition Project and Housing Justice Now. City Council members, welcome and congrats to our new members. Thank you for your attention to these public comments. I want to begin by reminding you that during the Town Trust Talk on June 16th, Chief Thompson told citizens, quote, "We are expected to be everything: teachers, babysitters, healthcare workers, mental health providers. Oh, and by the way, handling crime as well. I'd be happy to reallocate our funding into those programs or into those people or organizations that can provide those things," end quote. And Council Member Jeff Mcintosh is quoted in the November 29th Winston-Salem Journal article, agreeing that more spending on mental health is needed, but saying that it is not a city function. It's true that the majority of mental health treatment has private, state, and/or federal funding, but there is no rule of law that would preclude our city from investing in mental health support for our police officers as they respond to calls with a mental health basis. For example, our neighbor, the city of Greensboro, since 2019, has contracted with an independent company to assist police in responding to calls that are related to mental health issues, training Metro 911 operators to identify mental health crises, and sending trained counselors to address problems that can't be handled by law enforcement alone. This month, December 2020, the city of Greensboro will employ its own team that will replace the contractor and respond to many calls in tandem with specially trained police officers. Why couldn't the city of Winston-Salem do this? In the United States, individuals with severe mental illness generate no less than 1 in 10 calls for police services and occupy at least 1 in 5 of America's prison and jail beds. An estimated 1 in 3 individuals transported to hospital emergency rooms in psychiatric crisis are taken there by police. Further, data suggests that people with disabilities and mental health diagnoses are much more likely to be victims of police use of excessive force and are more likely to be killed by police, even more so if they are Black or brown. We all have friends, family, neighbors, or even ourselves with mental health diagnoses or developmental disabilities. Let's poll our citizens to ask who among us wouldn't want the police to have appropriately trained counselors to support them in response to mental health related calls. Please consider reviewing the Winston-Salem Police Department budget and reallocating funds to better support our neighbors with mental health and developmental disability diagnoses. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you. That is the end of our public comment period. Council members, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Clark, seconded by Councilmember Scipio. All those in favor of the adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That is unanimous. We are adjourned.